Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Lana Labonte, and I am here to support, uplift, inspire, and hopefully that empowers you to be the best version of you were meant to be. We are continuing on with The Invitation by Oriah Mountain Dreamer. We are on chapter 11. Let us continue. Deep sustenance. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. Tell me, have you been where hope and faith cannot find you? What sustains you when all that you have relied upon, inner and outer, falls away? How do you get through? How do you take the next breath? Most of the time, I am buoyed up by hope. I have hope that my sons will find what they love and a way to live it. I have hope that my work will continue to challenge me and offer something of value to others. Oh, I also have hope that we will use our will and imagination to bring peace to parts of the world torn by war and to develop technologies and ways of living that are in alignment with the earth. But the truth is that most of the time, the hope that moves me toward life with arms wide open are smaller, particular, and very human. I have hope that I will someday exercise on a regular basis. I have hope that I will once again feel the delicious excitement of falling in love. I have hope that my skin will clear up. I will learn how to rollerblade gracefully, and I will be kissed again by a man who will take my breath away. I have hope that I will find the time today to walk by the lake and feed the ducks. There is, of course, a risk in focusing on what we hope for. We can fall into the daydream, missing what we have, but our ability to imagine, to anticipate, is part of what makes us human. Anyone who has ever made love knows that part of the pleasure is in anticipating both the familiar and the unknown. The pleasure and intimacy of lovemaking are deepened when I am able to slow down and consciously savor the sharp taste of the moment in between the second just before, the place where the breath catches in anticipation. I am aware of the scent of heat held in the air between two mouths, reaching for each other hungrily. There is hope that sustains, that moves me toward life. In the skin that tingles, waiting, fine hairs at attention, reaching, aching. There is anticipation in the places that have not yet been touched, but know they will be. There is hope of being fully met by the one who can touch me without taking his eyes from mine. Hoping and anticipating can deepen our experience of the moment, motivate us to act or sit still. I do my daily meditation not only because it brings me insight and a sense of calmness as I do it, but because I have hope that it will enable me to be more present in my daily living. Living the present moment fully and having hope for what is to come next are not mutually exclusive. Sometimes, when the moment at hand is difficult, having hope that it will change is what makes it possible to be present. And sometimes there is no hope. When I am lying in bed, ill again after months of doing all I know to stay well, I feel no hope that I will ever have normal daily health. When my son once again skips class, I lose hope that he will find his way within the school system. Sometimes when I ache with loneliness, I have no hope that I will find a partner with whom to share my life. But there is still faith. Sometimes when hope is gone, I can breathe into my heart and find there the faith that sustains me. Faith that is fueled by the moments when I or others are able to find what is good, what is funny, sweet, and tender in life, despite the deep wounds and overwhelming difficulties. It is the courage of the human spirit and the relentless persistence of life all around us that gives me faith. So I have faith that even if my health is never strong, Even if my son continues to flounder in his schooling, even if I never come together with the husband of my heart and hearth, it will be okay, truly okay. Life will continue and it will conspire with its beauty to pull me back to hope. This is my faith. Living with hope is living with anticipation of what can be. Living with faith is relaxing into what is that cannot be changed by our will, and knowing that life in its fullness is good. And sometimes neither hope nor faith can find me, and there is nothing to hang on to. When this happens, the late night hours are the worst. I watch TV, work at my computer, or clean the house, wanting to exhaust myself so that when I stop, I will fall into a dreamless sleep, bypassing the ache that leaves me staring blindly into the darkness. In these moments, all that buoyed me up in more hopeful times seems colorless, flat, not worth the trouble. Food loses its taste. I take no pleasure in my home, which suddenly seems too familiar. Just so much stuff, arbitrarily collected and waiting for the garbage heap. My relationships with friends and family are suspect, and I long to disappear. The ideas that normally stimulate and excite me seem meaningless, remote from anything that matters. My writing, petty self-indulgence. My dreams are full of ambivalence, reluctant lovers, confused decisions, and endless tasks that leave me exhausted. At these times, I have no faith, no knowledge that this too will pass, that who we are and how we live matters at all. The times without faith and hope are sometimes brought about by loss. A number of years ago, over a period of about 20 months, one by one, many of the things in my life that gave me hope fell away or were threatened. My sons and I had to leave our home of 12 years. Catherine's brain aneurysm left me grieving, questioning my basic beliefs, and canceling my teaching plans. My younger son, Nathan, ill for weeks, was hospitalized as the doctors searched for a cause, suspecting cancer but finding nothing. My relationship with the man I thought I had waited for all my life ended. My closest friend learned she had cancer and decided to move away to seek healing. My sanctuary in the wilderness was devastated by a tornado while a group of us were camping there, leaving us shaken and the site looking clear-cut and barren. As each of these things happened, I responded, as most would, by doing what had to be done. In many ways, it is not the time of crisis that is hardest to bear. I have learned how to be with a dying friend or a sick child, how to gather strength, to pack boxes, paint walls, and repitch wind-torn tents. But later, when the crises were past, when there was nothing left to be done, I found myself sitting on my bed, unable to sleep. After a long time, only 2 lines flowed from my pen onto the blank page of my journal. It was only as I read those lines that I realized how far I had wandered from hope and faith. Too late, alone in my bed, I whispered slowly into the darkness, I am not as tough as I look. I am not indestructible. I didn't know until I wrote those lines that I thought I was invincible, but I had. I'd thought my faith and hopes would sustain me no matter what. I had been down and gotten up before, after failed marriages, illnesses, disappointments. I had thought I would always be able to get up. Now, for the first time in my life, I was not sure. I had no faith that this deep weariness would pass, that hope would ever find me again. My friends were concerned, but I felt a great distance from them, an unwillingness or inability to receive their support. Something inside me closed. When all we have relied upon has fallen away, there is nothing to do but wait without faith or hope. How we wait, whether we remain open or close up, is the choice we have to make, a choice to either live or begin to spiral down towards death. To choose life, we have to be willing to wait, open to life and love, at a time when opening seems impossible, and we are sure that no one and nothing will ever be able to find us. What sustains us when all else falls away are the things that make waiting and staying open to life possible. I have been lucky enough to find 3 such things in my life: my practices of prayer and meditation, writing, and spending time close to nature. These activities enrich my life when I have hope and faith, and they give me a way to bear the waiting. What makes them practices is that I do them regularly, whether I feel like it or not. A practice of any kind is best cultivated in times when things are going well. This is difficult for us. Sometimes any regular activity beyond teeth brushing seems a curtailment of personal freedom. But a practice, a regularly repeated and at least minimally structured way of connecting with our sense of the mystery of which we are a part, gives us a way to open to that which sustains us when everything falls away. I began my practice very simply. I said a small prayer each morning to greet the day. Later, I began, at the end of the day, to share prayers with my sons. We would each offer our thanks for something in the day, the names of those we loved for blessing, and any requests we had for help and guidance. Eventually, I began to do an hour of daily meditation and prayer. There is almost always some resistance, the voice that says, I am too tired, too busy, too ill to do it, or healthy enough not to need to do it. And I do it anyway. Most spiritual practices have been developed, and in the past were sustained in community. But most of us do not live in community. Although my students and friends and I share many of these practices, we are only occasionally in proximity to one another. Doing a daily practice alone is difficult. It requires not so much a heroic discipline as a deep commitment to life, a willingness to dedicate our lives to something larger than ourselves. I want to know what your life is dedicated to. What do you love more than your own happiness or your own pain? Each day, as I do my practice, I dedicate my small life to being fully here, to learning how to love well. And the practice I have cultivated in easier times is there when things are hard. I say the prayers I have been taught. They are the prayers of the Twisted Hair Council of Elders, but they could just as easily be the prayers of Tibetan Buddhism, of a Christian community, or of one of the many other spiritual traditions. When I am in despair, I can come up with no eloquent, spontaneous prayers, so I begin by rote. At such times, I do not feel like saying these prayers. I have no hope that they will make a difference, no faith that there is anything receiving my words. My words are stark and blunt. I follow the structure I was taught, which, in easier times, I have articulated with passion and poetry. At other times, I walk along the shore of the great lake of fresh water near my home, sitting on the rocks and looking at it with unseeing eyes. What previously moved me with its beauty now seems cold and lifeless. But I walk along the shore anyway, and the sounds of the waves begin to penetrate what has become hard inside me. And there are still other times when I let my pen move across the page, the words pouring from me, though they seem trite, empty, and meaningless. But I keep on writing. And as I pray, or watch the water, or keep my hand moving across the page, something inside me loosens, and I am aware once again of how I am held. It may take some time, and I may experience it for only a moment, but it is enough to help me go on. Tell me, can you love life and let love find you when you are lost? What sustains you? What helps you sit without hope and wait, opening your heart to love when you have no faith that love exists? My practices are simple ways of picking up my end of the thread that links me to love and life, even when I have no hope or faith that the other end of the thread is connected. And every single time, love finds me, sometimes in the impossible relief of experiencing once again the deep knowing that I am held, sometimes in the shiver of sweet ecstasy as I unexpectedly kiss the face of the mystery, and sometimes in the warmth of being touched deeply by the words and actions of the people who reach out for me. It may take a moment or what feels like forever, but I am found, and I can receive the touch of spirit, of the world, of others, the touch that brings me back to life and hope. When my friend Catherine was in a coma, I spent days waiting and praying. One day, going home from the hospital as I drove out of the parking lot, the attendant smiled and asked me, "How are you today?" I suppose it was my tiredness that made me answer truthfully. I just didn't have the energy to lie. "Horrible," I said bluntly. "I've just come from the hospital where my friend is dying." I wasn't expecting any kind of meaningful response. I waited for him to mutter something about it being too bad. But instead, he leaned out of his booth, his voice filled with genuine concern, and said, "I am so sorry. What happened to her?" I told him. He told me that his mother had had a stroke the week before. The doctors didn't think she would recover. He gave me my change and I drove away feeling a little lighter, a little more connected where I had earlier felt cast adrift. 4 weeks later, with Catherine still in the coma, I again found myself driving out of the same parking lot. As I looked for money to pay for the fee, I heard a warm voice. "How is your friend doing? Is she okay? Did she make it?" It was the same attendant. Somehow, in the busiest parking lot, a lot in a city of over 2 million, he had recognized me and remembered my story. Our brief exchange affected me deeply. As I drove away, I felt an impossible sense of hope. This man's willingness to extend himself to a stranger sustained me in a way I could not have anticipated. My usual defenses of self-sufficiency, my wariness about receiving from someone I did not know, fearing something might be wanted in return, had been dissolved by weeks of stress and need. The truth is, I only have to receive and give what I am able. There is no risk. The intimacy, the interconnectedness of all life, that is the love to which we all belong, can only be given and received. It cannot be taken. And when it is given and received, we are sustained. Meditation for waiting. This basic body scan meditation has perhaps been the most important part of the daily practice I use that helps me wait without closing to life when I have no faith or hope. Doing it on a regular basis when you are hopeful means you will be able to return to it more easily when you are visited by despair. The ability to simply be, to let go when you feel you are hanging on by your fingernails, can be enough sometimes to help you to continue, to let you wait for that which sustains you to find you again. Lie down on your back in a comfortable position. Bring your attention to your breath, feeling your belly rise on the inhalation and fall on the exhalation. With each exhalation, let go of any stress or tension or tiredness, letting it flow harmlessly into the floor and the earth beneath you. Let any thoughts or feelings that come drift away with the exhalation, and bring your attention gently back to your breath and your body. Turn your attention now to your feet. Imagine being able to breathe into your feet, filling them with light and warmth. On the exhalation, let any tension or tiredness in your feet flow harmlessly out into the ground, and feel your feet relax and soften. Let go of your feet. Breathe into your legs, into the shin bones and calf muscles. Be aware of any tension or tiredness held here, and breathe it out. Breathe into your knees and your thighs, feeling their shape and weight, being aware of the long, strong bones that go from knee to hip. Let the thigh muscles soften, letting go of any tension or tiredness with the exhalation. Breathe into your pelvis, being aware of your hip bones, your buttocks, and genitals. Fill your pelvis with breath and light, and let go on the exhalation of any stress or tension or tiredness held there. Feel the pelvis soften and relax with the exhalation. Breathe into your lower back, letting your breath come up your spine one vertebrae at a time, gently bringing the bones into smooth alignment. Breathe into the muscles of your back, filling them with breath and exhaling all stress or tension or tiredness. Let the inhalation penetrate the places that are hard, bringing softness. Let go on the exhalation. Breathe into your belly and up into your chest, filling your lungs and heart with light and breath. Be aware of your rib cage rising and falling. Let the muscles around your heart relax. Breathe into any hardness and let it soften with the breath. Let all the tension and tiredness in the front of your body flow out with the exhalation. Breathe into your hands, the fingers, the palms, and up into your arms and shoulders, filling them with light and warmth, and exhaling out any stress or tension held there. Breathe into your throat and neck. Let a small sound come out with the exhalation, releasing the hardness of unspoken words. Breathe into your face. Let your mouth open slightly and feel your eyes sink a little. Feel the muscles of your forehead and your cheeks release any tension and tiredness with your exhalation. Breathe into your scalp and the bones of your head, feeling the exhalation carry with it any stress or tension or tiredness. Let go. Be aware of your whole body. Breathe into any places that still hold tension or tiredness. Let go of the hardness of hanging on. Feel yourself being supported by the floor and the earth beneath the floor. Let go. Breathe. And that was chapter 11. Join me for the last chapter.